This kind of work, though, for me really is like therapy. I guess the exciting part of building instruments for me initially and continues to this day is kind of creating a palette for others to use, musical palette, so to speak. And with building instruments, for clients, they take what I make and take it in totally different directions sometimes and expand on it, and it gives them a platform, to express themselves creatively as well through music and through the instrument that we make. In the middle of 2014, I decided to make my hobby and passion kind of officially into a small business. I'd been building and repairing and working on instruments for 15, 16 years at the time, but wanted to sort of create my own brand and label. Part of the name, American Exotic Guitars, the exotic comes from the fact that one of the things that excites me about instrument building is trying to incorporate some of the native hardwoods that we have that have very similar sonic qualities and structural qualities as some of the imported and more traditional tone woods. You think of instruments, you think of mahogany and ebony and those things. And I do incorporate those into some instruments, but there's also many native hardwoods that rival or even surpass sometimes those qualities of those woods, and they're much more readily available, sustainable, and there's not many manufacturers that incorporate them. I try to use local suppliers such as Chattanooga hardwoods. Some of the particulars that I'm looking for in the lumber that I select are the grain orientation.
That's like 9+.
The density of the wood, so the weight, the coloration.
So yeah, if you don't mind guys, maybe run these two through.
All of those things combine together in instrument building to affect the tone, the playability, the sustain. When I'm working on instruments, I'm really not worried about anything else. And for me personally, it's very relaxing, very enjoyable. And at the same time, it produces something very tangible, that others can enjoy.
Gives it just a nice little friendly round over.
One of the things that separate me from many of the mass manufacturers, besides just being smaller numbers and handmade instruments, is the multi-scale fretboard and building multi-scale instruments. This is one of the multi-scale models, so that you can see the frets are splayed out, which gives it a more ergonomic feel, better tension on the low end. Most folks that try them end up loving it. The way it feels, the way it sounds. A lot of times, a player will have a particular look that they want, or woods to use, or a color scheme, and so we can accommodate that throughout the build process, to get exactly the instrument they want, even shaped to the size of their hand, how it feels and fits them.
It's mine. There's nothing else like it, which is probably the coolest thing. I mean, imagine you're building your favorite muscle car and you're following it down the assembly line over the guy's shoulder and, having input directly into what's going to come out on the other end, and there won't be another one exactly like it. It was a great experience.
For me, building instruments isn't so much about numbers, and building many of them. I pour my heart and soul into each piece that I make. I try and keep the numbers small. In terms of what I tackle per year in production. And for me, it's that personal connection, making an instrument for someone. One of my biggest challenges is just getting the word out that I'm here and trying to find folks that are looking for something different and unique and can appreciate the handmade qualities and kind of the heart and soul that go into these. You know, I'm not interested in mass producing, you know, cookie cutter instruments. My heart's in building instruments for people, for players. I certainly hope that playing one of my instruments frees them up to create, that it just helps them produce, you know, the best, most enjoyable music that they can. I would say to someone thinking about starting a small business, you know, to not make it about money. I mean, yes, money's a factor, but, you know, find something you love, find something you're passionate about, and when you can combine those things, you know, the money will come. I think when you enjoy what you're doing and you're passionate about doing it, you know, that comes through in the finished product, and people can see that, people appreciate that, and people are attracted to that.